the government will sit down, develop policy, implement. And that's why you see a lot of governments losing a lot of resources because they're not following the correct procedures.
Timothy Kipnusu for Prime Edition.
Well, we'll bring you Nancy Okware's report on what the Kenya Meteorological Department is saying. Which areas will continue experiencing the flooding across the country. But first things first, we're taking a break, and coming up next, is the aviation industry contributing to the country's economic development underrepresented? And in sports, KCB Prisons Kenya join in the quarterfinals of the African Women's Volleyball Club Championship in Egypt.
Tumewakumbuka. Kenya Revenue Authority is writing off penalties and interest on outstanding tax debt for tax periods up to 31st December 2022. Act now. Pay off your outstanding tax debt in easy installments by 30th June 2024 and watch those penalties and interests vanish. Scan the QR code or visit the KRA website for guidelines on how to apply. You can also call us on 0711 099 999 or visit any of the nearest KRA offices. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to set your tax records right. Anza upya na KRA Tax Amnesty. Kenya Revenue Authority. Tulipe ushuru, tujitegemee.
Shamba ni mbili, yako ni gani? Kwenye star 570 hash. Every 100 shillings unayotumia kwa Lucky Game inakupa 1 entry point ya kuingia kwenye drum ya draw, ambayo inakupa fursa ya kujishindia moja kati ya shamba hizi mbili. Mwisho wa April namtangaza mshindi wa shamba hili la 1.1 million Kenyan shillings na unapata title deed yako safi. Na mwisho wa Mei namtangaza mshindi wa shamba hili la 1.1 million Kenyan shillings, lori za mawe na mchanga. Ploti ndizo hizi. Dial star 570 hash. Title deed ndio hii. Vuka na shake.
Are you looking for competent college training founded on Christian background? Sensei Institute of Technology is the right place. Welcome to the home of great practical skills where learning is hands-on, the CBC way, and everyone has potential.
I'm Silvano Magez Mugisha from Uganda. I'm a student in Sensei Institute of Technology. I've taken several courses in Sensei, which is plant operator, plant mechanics, automotive electronics, and solar installation and CCTV. The reason why I've done all those courses with Sensei, Sensei gives the best practical skills in all fields, and these skills always help us to provide our best to the society. I've had a very good experience with Sensei because the teaching staff of Sensei do not only act like teachers, but they even act like parents. So they have given me a good experience in school and outside school.
All you need is your ID card to be admitted to either of our 2 campuses in Nairobi and Nakuru. Call us on 0717 951 055 or 0729 891 301. Sensei Institute of Technology. My skills, my future. It is any parent's joy to know that their child's education in future is secured. Education costs are increasingly expensive, while the future is filled with uncertainties. Take an education insurance policy today to assure your child's education in future. In case of death or permanent disability, your child's education policy remains valid. No further premiums are payable, and your child's education is assured. Read and understand the terms and conditions of your policy. This message is brought to you by the Insurance Regulatory Authority, IRA, Bima Bora kwa Taifa.
Welcome back, our socials at KBC Channel 1. The Kenya Meteorological Department says that the country might witness a cessation of the ongoing heavy rains in several regions in the coming days. However, the rains are expected to continue in the coastal region, the the western regions until sometime in June. The weatherman is now cautioning the public to adhere to safety measures, with the relevant authorities urged to put in place adequate interventions to deal with the flooding occasioned by the rains. Nancy Okware puts that story in perspective.
According to the Kenya Meteorological Department, May marks the cessation of the long rain season over several parts of the country, except for the coastal region and the western region, where rainfall continues into June.
Most of the other parts of the country have had their peak in April, but the coast will have its peak in the month of May. And that is also one of the places where you expect the season to cease in the first part of June.
The forecast for the next 3 months indicates that rainfall is expected over the highlands west of the Rift Valley, the Lake Victoria Basin, Central and South Rift Valley, as well as the coastal region. The highlands east of the Rift Valley, including Nairobi, are likely to experience rainfall in May and remain generally cool and cloudy, with occasional light rains in June and July. According to the weatherman, the month of April marked the peak of the long rains, except over the coastal region, whose peak is expected in May. The rainfall was near to above average over the whole country, except over Voi Meteorological Station, where below average rainfall was recorded. The rainfall recorded in April had an impact on the agricultural sector. Despite providing favorable conditions for farming in some areas, it also resulted in significant crop damage, with an unknown number of livestock killed by floods and landslides. Additionally, fatalities due to floods and landslides were reported, displacement of people as well as destruction of property. The rain in April also resulted in the disruption of transport services and the destruction of infrastructure.
Weather and climate variability and extremes have increased in the recent years due to climate change. As you may recall, the current floods are happening just months after the recent long drought, the worst in our history in over 40 years. It is therefore necessary that as a country, we continue to focus on the need to invest in early warning systems that prepare our population days, weeks, and months ahead of extreme weather events.
Nancy Okware, Prime Edition.
Into the corridors of justice now. Former Murang'a County Governor Mwangi wa Iria will spend Tuesday night behind bars after failing to raise 10 million shillings cash bail or 20 million shillings bond. Earlier in the day, Wa Iria denied graft-related charges regarding illegal procurement of media services that cost the country 351 million shillings between 2014 and 2017. He was charged alongside his brother-in-law, Solomon Mutura, and businessman David Maina, who was the director of Top Image Media Consultant, which was allegedly paid the money for media buying services. And as Ruth Wamboi reports, the former Murang'a County boss was also separately charged with conflict of interest.
Milimani's anti-corruption court was on Tuesday a beehive of activities as the EACC charges against the former Murang'a County Governor Mwangi wa Iria were actualized. Appearing before Chief Magistrate Thomas Nzioki, wa Iria was charged with the offences of corruption and money laundering related to 351 million Kenya shillings on advertising by the county government during his first tenure in office. Through his lead councils led by Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka, the former county boss termed the charges against him as political persecution.
The first accused is brought before you 10 years after the alleged commission of the offense of conspiracy, for example.
It has gone on record that besides him being a member of a political party, he has also his associates. That is the law.
He was released on a bond of 20 million shillings pending pre-trial.
For the first accused person, Mwangi wa Iria, accused person, you shall be released on a bond of 20 million, one surety for similar amount if it is a property, and in the alternative, a cash bail of 10 million. That the first accused person and the seventh accused person, you are hereby ordered to deposit your traveling document in court.
Wairia's brother-in-law Solomon Mutura also took a plea on Tuesday and was charged with money laundering in contravention of the Proceeds of Crime and Anti-Money Laundering Act. Mutura and his sister Jane Waigwe Kimani were directors of Value View Limited, which benefited from the funds paid to top image media consultant. Jane, who is Wairia's wife, did not take a plea as she is said to have fallen sick on Tuesday morning. Even as this anti-corruption court has released him on a 20 million shillings bond, the former Murang'a governor Mwangi wa Iria has been ordered by the court not to interfere with the witnesses that will be used by the prosecution when the case begins on 14th May 2024. Ruth Wamboi reporting from Milimani Law Court.
Now, the legal fraternity and the general public can now access up-to-date laws of Kenya in a centralized repository. President William Ruto, who launched the 24th annual supplement of the laws of Kenya, underscored the importance of upholding the rule of law as he commended the National Council for Laws Reforms for coming up with a central repository of all legal reforms that are also digitized.
Nearly 30 years since review of the annual supplement laws of Kenya, President William Ruto has launched the 24th annual supplement, thereby giving Kenyans access to all enacted and reviewed legal reforms between 1995 and 2022.
It is imperative, therefore, that our laws reflect our nation's dynamism. As our society evolves, so must our laws.
To ensure adequate legal representation of the people of Kenya and the government, the President further promised to enhance facilitation for the Office of the Attorney General.
For a very long time, the office has been understaffed, undercapacitated, and we are paying a very high price. We are going to do something about the Office of the Attorney General by way of empowering it and giving it substantial capability to be able to handle matters legal for the people of Kenya and for the government of Kenya.
The head of state further hailed the National Council for Legal Reforms for digitizing the annual supplement, which is aligned to the bottom-up economic transformative agenda.
The work they have done is world-class. The supplement ensures that our legal framework remains effective and accessible to all Kenyans. In particular, this edition also features a body of laws that have been aligned with the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, anchoring our ambition and our ambitious vision for national development on a sound legal basis.
The President's remarks were echoed by the Attorney General Justin Muturi, the Chief Justice Martha Koome, and the Chief Executive Officer Kenya Law, Professor Jack Mwimale.
I have received over 10 delegations from the continent coming to understand the Kenya law. We have trained many jurisdictions on how they can establish their own reporting system. So what we have here today, Your Excellency, is a world-class organization.
And as we launch it, we believe that it is an onset of a documentation of the laws so that the Republic is governed with certainty.
As it has been mentioned that this work has been done by Kenya Law, but the state agency itself is the National Council for Law Reporting.
The 24th annual report contains the Constitution of Kenya for the first time since its promulgation in 2010. 259 statutes enacted in 1995, 126 revised editions of statutes since 1995, a new revised edition of the Accumulative Index, a table of contents which features a list of East African legislation and supplements of the chronological table. Serafina Robi for Prime Edition.
We've been tracking the escalation of the doctors' strike for some time now, and tonight over 10 public service sector trade unions now threaten to join the ongoing doctors' strike in a bid to compel government to heed the doctors' demands. The unions that took part in demonstrations in Nairobi Tuesday accused government of being insensitive to the Kenyan workers. Meanwhile, governors have been criticized for allegedly dodging the conciliatory talks to end the health workers' strike.
On the 40th day of their strike, Doctors Union KMPDU got a shot in the arm after several public service sector unions, including the University Academic Staff Union, WASO, and the Kenya University Staff Union, KUSO, declared their support for the strike.
I want to send a warning to SRC. Yes. The 70,000 you are offering interns, can you offer it to politicians?
Yes. The union leaders joined doctors' demos in Nairobi while expressing their displeasure with the government for allegedly violating doctors' CBA.
When you violate a collective bargaining agreement with workers, as a government, you are inviting those workers to strike. When we met yesterday, we said we will begin today joining you. Yes. The direction that the rest of the public servants are waiting from you doctors. Yes. You want it every day, you want it every hour, you want it every week.
They said they are willing to hold daily demonstrations to push for full implementation of doctors' demands, sentiments that were echoed by Doctors Union KMPDU officials.
So we are saying that every Tuesday we will be on the demonstration. Yes. We are saying that there's no doctor who will come and go back to work. We are saying that CBA has to be implemented in total. Yes. That interns must be posted as per the CBA. Yes. That CBA arrears must be paid. Yes. That doctors must be employed.
At the same time, Clinical Officers Union KUKO escalated their strike for the 30th day.
We are dealing with an employer who doesn't listen to the Ministry of Labor that is supposed to conciliate, an employer who holds the court with contempt and cannot even respect the court orders.
While sharply criticizing governors for ignoring conciliatory talks, which were ordered for Tuesday by the Labor Relations Court.
When the employer doesn't come to the table, we cannot negotiate with ourselves. And what you're asking is if we have bare minimums that we can take and go back. But the employer is not on the table, so we are not negotiating. We are out here. They are on the other side. They are continuing with their rhetorics. Yet there is a court order compelling them to come and conclude the CBA.
For Prime Edition, I'm Joseph Ohungu.
The National Government Constituencies Development Fund, NG-CDF, is established under the NG-CDF Act 2015. The fund was first initiated through the now repealed CDF Act of 2003 that came into effect on 15th of April 2004. In this regard, this year we are marking 20 years since the fund's inception. The fund has been instrumental over the past 20 years in supporting community-driven development initiatives across the nation. The NG-CDF 20th anniversary celebrations will be held on Friday the 3rd of May 2024 at Safari Park Hotel, Nairobi, and will be presided over by His Excellency Honorable Dr. William Samoei Ruto, CGH. This event will be live on KBC Channel 1.
Toss the ball around?
Come on, tuck it out after practice.
Paige wants to join the Everyday Girls Club.
Last time was martial arts, then she wanted to do gymnastics. We don't have an endless disposable income.
I just think you should spend more time with her.
Hey there, where'd you come from? Come with me. Come on, girl. I found her. We gotta help her.
Okay, well, first of all, she's a he.
Her name was Duchess. I guess now it's a Duke.
Nana, she needs this. You think I don't want to give her something special? Take Duke to the vet today.
He's been through a lot. He's gonna be okay, right?
He'll recover. Duke came to us. We'll take care of him. I promise.
Do you think I treat the kids differently?
Not intentionally. It's not Paige's fault. I thought I was going to retire on a beach. but I wouldn't change it for a second.
I'll go anywhere you go.
A very good evening to you. Thank you for keeping it Prime Edition. Good to be back after a short break. My name is Betty Kiptum. Let's get the business. Now, the government should reduce import declaration fees for raw materials and intermediate inputs for registered manufacturers from the current 2.5% to 1.5%. Economic experts say this will lower the cost of goods in the country at a time when the economy is facing multiple shocks. The Institute of Economic Affairs says the government should also invest more in social programs in the fiscal year 2024-2025 to ease the cost of living for Kenyans.
Since the enactment of the Finance Act in 2023, all imported goods, whether finished or in raw form, have been paying an import declaration fee of 2.5% and the Railway Development Levy of 1.5% of customs value. The Institute of Economic Affairs says the National Treasury should reduce the fees to a 1.5% preferential rate for raw materials and intermediate inputs for registered manufacturers. The Institute says the long-term impact will be more taxes to the government in form of pay, excise, and corporate tax, among other taxes on products thereof produced.
This will make, it will incentivize even the firms and institutions that work around the manufacturing sector to set up manufacturing in the country and do create jobs for our youth and ensure that our products are a bit cheaper in terms of even making the cost of living to be a bit low.
IEA is also urging the government to ensure the National Treasury and MDAs prepare their budgets based on quarterly revenue collection pattern to avoid under-expenditure between the estimated budgets and actual spending. Today, IEA has launched its Citizens Alternative Budget 2024-2025, which is urging the government to require the various ministries, departments and agencies to not only mobilize more non-tax revenues, but also transfer resources to the exchequer. The Institute is also raising concerns with pending bills, which continue to put pressure on the scarce resources, with some of these bills attracting penalties, thereby putting more strain on the available resources.
Pending bills is a problem, and at the Institute of Economic Affairs, we think it's a problem in public finance expenditure management, because you shouldn't have pending bills. It either shows that you're running contracts or delaying contracts and not paying on time. So that's the first thing. So the way to fix them is by making people accountable for what bills they run.
Additionally, the Institute has called for an increase in allocation for social expenditure by the government that will cater to children, who are often assembled with other groups such as youth, women, and vulnerable groups. This will further enhance the focus on equity and inclusion of children in public expenditure to redress inequality. Dutamo Kami for Prime Edition.
Now, the Cooperative Alliance of Kenya has opted for a multi-agency intervention to compel government agencies owing SACCOs 2.6 billion shillings remit the SACCO deductions from SACCO members. Cooperatives Alliance of Kenya CEO Daniel Marube says non-remittance is negatively affecting the loan book and operations of SACCOs. Marube says loan applications to SACCOs have significantly increased after a hike in interest rates by banks.
The only problem we have is the delay on remittances, especially from the Ministry of Health. We still have a huge amount not remitted to their SACCOs, the universities, and together with the county government. That is the only area that we are seeing a problem that is going to continue affecting us.
We have seen members coming for clearing their bank loans, and we are ready, and we are bailing them out
to the banks. And those who have taken loans in the banks and they are suffering because of high interest rates, they have come back to the home, to the SACCO.
And a representation of the contribution of Kenya's aviation sector to the country's gross domestic product is denying the country its competitive edge. Kenya Civil Aviation Authority Director General Emil Arao says potential investors in manufacturing looking to set up shop in the country are some of the players shying away from the country because data shows the sector is less vibrant.
Data from the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics shows that in 2022, Kenya's aviation sector contributed just 0.8% to the national gross domestic product. But in contrast, the International Air Transport Association shows that the sector contributes 4.6%. But why the disparity?
We will get all sorts of data on the contribution of aviation. But when we interacted with Kenya Bureau of Standards, what they said is that, wait a minute, have we taken care of forward and backward linkages? And it is on account of that we conceived this exercise.
We realized that aviation has hardly even scratched the surface. And by really understanding the distinct sectors, we can now come up with targeted policies to really improve the development of the aviation industry in Kenya, and as a result of that, subsequently increase the GDP of the state.
And now it is for this reason that the Kenya Airports Authority, Kenya Civil Aviation Authority, and the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics have come together on the development and establishment of the Kenya Civil Aviation Satellite Account, a project that aims to address the current gaps in economic reporting by adopting globally recognized methodologies that precisely depict the aviation sector's contribution to the national economy. This means that activities such as the use of aerial spraying as used in agriculture and currently represented as agricultural output, and duty-free shops in airports represented in wholesale and retail in the national account will now fall into aviation. Stakeholders say this will make the sector attractive to investors.
When you're looking at a satellite account, you try to bring out the aspects that are actually not considered to be part of civil aviation. A case in point is like when you look at repair and maintenance of aircrafts, is actually covered under manufacturing. But then when we are doing the satellite account, we'll bring it out to be part of the civil aviation satellite account.
The investment that goes into developing an aircraft is so capital intensive, which may not work for us at this particular stage. However, for a sector like drones, which is still developing, and the level of investment there is really not that much, you can see if that's an area we focus on, it can create more employment for the youth, can create additional opportunities, and not just for the youth.
Presently, the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport alone supports over 10,000 jobs for Kenyans directly and an additional 60,000 indirectly, making aviation a nerve center of the national economy. Alan Aoko, Prime Edition.
Now, 27 foreign corporate and individual investors with a net investment worth 110 million shillings exited the capital markets during the first 3 months of this year. According to the latest Capital Markets Authority report, the number of foreign corporate investors dropped to 412 in the first quarter of 2024, down from 432 as of December of 2023. While the number of foreign individual investors fell to 8,175.
There was a notable heightened trading activity at the Nairobi Securities Exchange during the first 3 months of this year that saw an increase in the equity market, where the NSE 20-share index rose by 8.07%, as well as the bond market, which saw 8 bonds issued. Equity turnover, which measures the company's efficient use of its shareholders' equity, decreased significantly to 19.07 billion shillings compared to 44.82 billion shillings registered in Q1 2023, reflecting a 57.46% year-on-year drop. The report also indicates that about 20 foreign corporate and 7 foreign individual investors exited the bourse. The number of foreign corporate investors dropped to 412, up from 432 as of December of 2023, while the number of foreign individual investors fell to 8,175 from 8,182 individual investors. This led to a net foreign portfolio outflow of 2.23 billion shillings as compared to an outflow of 2.34 billion shillings in the previous quarter. There was, however, an average foreign investors' participation in the period under review to record a 1.22 percentage point, up from an average of 59.04% recorded as of December 2023. The equities market remained quiet as there was no initial public offers, additional offers, listing by introduction, rights issue, and bonus issues. 4 listed firms comprising Deacons East Africa PLC, Athi River Mining Cement PLC, Mumias Sugar Company, and Kenya Airways remain suspended from trading activity at the Nairobi Securities Exchange. Wairimu Njenga for Prime Edition.
And Wairimu Njenga's report there brings us to a close of the business this evening. Bernardo Kumu is standing by with the latest in the world of sports. My name is Betty Kiptum. Good night.
Sports News is brought to you by Mozart Bet.
And to sports now, where former Africa champions KCB and Prisons Kenya have joined compatriots Kenya Pipeline in the quarterfinals of the ongoing Africa Women's Volleyball Club Championship in Cairo, Egypt, after winning their respective round of 16 matches. Now the Bankers defeated ASEC Mimos of Cote d'Ivoire by 3 straight sets, while Prisons Kenya saw off Nigeria's Customs by a similar margin.
KCB made their intentions clear from the onset, easily bagging the first set 25-6, followed by a 25-18 win in the second set. The Bankers dominated the third set, registering a comfortable 25-13 win to confirm a spot in the last 8. In another round of 16 match, Prisons Kenya trounced Nigeria Customs by 3 straight sets to also advance to the quarterfinals. KCB and Prison Kenya joined compatriots Kenya Pipeline, who got a direct qualification from the group matches to the quarterfinals after missing an opponent in the round of 16.
And on to rugby now, where Kenya's women's 15th rugby team head coach Paul Murunga has named the 28-woman squad ahead of this year's Rugby Africa Cup, scheduled 4th to 12th of May in Antananarivo, Madagascar. Now the Kenyan Lionesses are expected to leave the country on Thursday for the continental assignment.
Natasha Imali will lead the side that has 13 inclusion from the team that did duty at the World Rugby WXV3 competition in Dubai last year.
First of all, we are taking one game at a time. Taking first Madagascar, then South Africa, then Cameroon. South Africa, we've played with them. It will not be the first time. We know them, they know us. I am sure that we have prepared adequately. We will use our set pieces, we will use whatever we've learned here.
The changes are necessitated by Lioness participation in the final round of the World Rugby Sevens Challenger Series set for 18th to 19th May in Poland.
We have, at least, if I may say, a bit of seasoned players in the squad that, unlike last year, most of them had just come into playing 15th. And like last year, we didn't have so many competition going towards this same competition in Madagascar.
The experienced Lynette Mora returns to Lioness squad alongside Helsa Kisa and Diana Wino, while Jane Chanya, Sheila Wesa, Michelle Atieno, Michelle Aviseta, Refa Ochando, Helen Achieng, Elizabeth Wekesa, Nolihan Kayai, Carol Nyamu, and Helena Nyango were handed maiden call-ups. This year's Rugby Africa Women's Cup will be played on a round-robin basis and features defending champion South Africa, Kenya host Madagascar and Cameroon. For Prime Edition, I'm Sela Onyango.
And now we wish Paul Murunga's Chargers all the best in the Africa Cup, which will also be a qualifier for the Rugby World Cup, Women's Rugby World Cup, which will be later this year in England. Moving on, the national women's under-17 football team, Junior Starlets, has stepped up training at Dandora Stadium ahead of the upcoming two-legged third-round tie of the 2024 FIFA World Cup qualifier against Ethiopia on 10th of May. Now, Junior Starlets are expected to leave the country on Wednesday next week for the first leg tie.
The Mildred Cheche Chargers are upbeat ahead of the qualifiers as they target a crucial win in their two-legged qualifier match against Ethiopia. The squad is expected to leave for Ethiopia on Wednesday next week for the first leg, while the return leg will be played on 19th May in Nairobi. The winner of the tie on aggregate will proceed to the fourth and final round, where they will face either Djibouti or Burundi.
I think we are prepared because most of our players have been competing at the highest level locally. So hopefully they will rise up to the task ahead. So I am hopeful that we have a great team that is going to play well, even though we did not play in the previous round.
The 2024 FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup will be held in October in the Dominican Republic. For Prime Edition, I'm Sela Onyango.
And a team of 24 athletes is expected to jet out of the country on Wednesday ahead of the World Relays Championship scheduled to take place from 4th to 5th of May in Nassau, Bahamas. Now, the championship is an Olympic qualifying event and has attracted elite athletes drawn from over 40 countries.
Africa's fastest man, Ferdinando Manyala, will lead the Kenyan Chargers in the men's 4x100 meter relay alongside accomplished sprinters Mark Otieno, Meshak Babu, Samuel Chege, Mike Makoba and Hezbon Ochieng. Meanwhile, the women's 4x400 relay team will be spearheaded by world 800 meter champion Mary Moraa. The 800 meter world champion will be supported by Mercy Chebet, Jacqueline Nanjala, Johan Chirono, Veronica Mutua, Vanice Kerubel, Maureen Thomas, Gladys Chepkemboi and Diana Chebet. In the men's 4x400 meter relay, Kenya will be represented by a strong component comprising Zablon Ekwam, Wiseman Were, David Saniek, Boniface Moresa, Brian Tenanga, Mointanel Ndokila, Kelvin Kipkoril, Nathaniel Kipngetich and Kennedy Kimeu. The team is expected to leave the country on Wednesday for the global showpiece. For Prime Edition, I'm Sela Onyango.
And across the borders, the UEFA Champions League resumes tonight as Spanish giants Real Madrid travel to the Allianz Arena to face Bayern Munich in the first semi-final first-leg clash. Now on Wednesday, German side Borussia Dortmund will take on newly crowned French champions at PSG.
One final hurdle to Wembley for the four teams still standing in the UEFA Champions League. Here, Bayern Munich will host their first leg semi-final tie against Real Madrid, while Paris Saint-Germain travel to Dortmund. Bayern are chasing the biggest prize of all after relinquishing their Bundesliga title to an exceptional Bayer Leverkusen. Mbappe will be aiming to replicate the same performance against Borussia Dortmund, a side unbeaten in their last 10 home games in the competition. For Prime Edition, I'm Emmanuel Ndungu.
And to basketball, where LeBron James and Los Angeles Lakers were knocked out of the NBA playoffs as the Denver Nuggets completed a 4-1 series win in the Western Conference. Now in the Eastern Conference, the Boston Celtics edged closer to the next round as they took a 102-88 win over the Miami Heat.
In there by Trey Murphy, the third, and McCollum comes the other way.
In the fifth game of the best-of-7 series, defending champions the Nuggets won a tense encounter 108-106.
He's sealed off. Ingram up the floor to CJ. A wicked left to right into the lane. Teardrops one up and in off the window.
Hey, listen, man, when you get the bounce like that, you got to blow the kiss at the end.
Jamal Murray scored 32 points, including the winner, with just 3.6 seconds left, with the scores tied. James' 30 points and 11 assists were in vain for the Lakers. The NBA's all-time leading point scorer was chasing his fifth title and his first with the Lakers since 2020.
Takes a handoff. Pounds into Holmgren. Coming to the ball is Alvarado, unchecked to lay it in.
Elsewhere in the Western Conference, the Oklahoma City Thunder also progressed to the last 8 with a 97-89 win over the New Orleans Pelicans.
Holmgren with 3 good shots to the chest and turns, hooks and scores.
Jalen Williams scored 24 points and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander added 24 with 10 rebounds to complete a 4-0 series clean sweep. In the Eastern Conference, the Boston Celtics edged closer to next round as they took a 102-88 win over the Miami Heat.
In transition, three in the air is good. Right down the kiss.
That's it from the sports desk this hour. Have a good night. I'm Bernardo Kungu.
Sports News was brought to you by Mozart Bet.
You can lift the plane. The higher you fly, the higher your win. The sky is the limit. Mozart Bet.
Well, many thanks to Bernard Okoch for that sporty update. Earlier on, Betty Kiptum was in studio delivering the business news. Our sign language interpreter, Nwangeshi, thank you for a good job. And the entire Prime Edition team, and also you, the viewer, I want to thank you so much for making Prime Edition your channel of choice. From Broadcasting House, my name is Mboya. Good night, and God bless you.
Ili kupata uchungu mtamu kama skiza tuni yako, bonyeza *812 504 hash.
Je, wajua kuwa kuna uchungu mtamu? Bwana mmoja kaona kipepeo kichanga kikijikakamua kutoka nje ya shimo la ukuni. Akakitazama kwa huruma mno, akahisi uchungu kwa niaba yacho. Mwisho akaamua kukisaidia.
Kupata uchungu mtamu kama skiza tune, bonyeza *812 504 hash. *812 504 hash.
Watch the Mozart Bet Cup as teams from both the top tier and low tier battle for the ultimate prize of representing the country in Africa's CAF Confederations Cup. Catch all the action live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1, beginning with a round of 16 matches, the quarter-final, semi-final, and the final. Mozart Bet Cup, live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Toss the ball around?
I'm all tuckered out after practice.
Paige wants to join the Everyday Girls Club.
Last time was martial arts. Then she wanted to do gymnastics. We don't have an endless disposable income.
I just think you should spend more time with her.
Hey there, where'd you come from? Come with me. Come on, girl. I found her. We gotta help her.
Okay, well, first of all, she is a he.
Her name was Duchess. I guess now it's Duke.
Nana, she needs this.
You think I don't want to give her something special?
Take Duke to the vet today.
He's been through a lot.
He's gonna be okay, right?
He'll recover. Duke came to us. We'll take care of him. I promise.
Do you think I treat the kids differently?
Not intentionally. It's not Paige's fault. I thought I was going to retire on a beach, but I wouldn't change it for a second.
Hiya, Cheb, you agree with Kamene that we are all daft?
From her point of view, I can say yes.
How will a blind person read another blind person?
There goes another madman in the making.
Let me just compose myself, Julia. Did this girl just call us Akilidun?
Yeah, Kamene, not everyone is a walkover. You better shape up or ship out.
You want me being featured in your music video, eh? I am telling you that is going to break all records you watch. Hafiz on my zest. Hafiz on my zest.
Las bandidas.
Recuerdos que me llevan a soñar, bandidas las que un día aprendieron a amar. Dulces como tus besos, dulce el sabor del tiempo, como un barril añejo, todo un recuerdo, son las bandidas de mi corazón. Bandidas, bandidas, los recuerdos que me llevan a soñar. Bandidas, bandidas, tú y yo nos volvemos a encontrar. Tomaremos otra copa hasta el final. Bandidas,
Las bandidas.
bandidas las que un día aprendieron
Las
a amar.
bandidas.
Bandidas las que un
Las
día
bandidas.
aprendieron a amar.
You should have just told me the truth. You!
I don't understand. What truth do you mean, my dear? Please tell me.
Just when we were about to get married, she said she doesn't love me and she loves someone else, Professor. Can you believe that?
Do you know someone named Rodrigo Irazabal?
It sounds familiar.
Well, I work for that man. And it's really very important that you get in touch with him.
You do work with horses, right? Well then, this is actually their dung. So you better get to work. Clean it up!
What I want to know now is if you're actually willing to marry my daughter Amparo immediately. Yes or no?
Where is Amparo?
Ruben, why are you here?
Bandidas las que un día
Las bandidas.
aprendieron a amar.
Just tell me where Amparo is,
What's
Julia.
the point? What will
Just
you
tell
do?
me where she is now.
In her room. But you shouldn't be here, Ruben. If Mr. Oligario sees you, you'll be in
I don't
bigger
care
trouble.
anymore. I need to see her.
Have you gone crazy? Think about your mom. She'll get all the blame and punishment.
Julia, I'm not leaving until I see Amparo.
You really are obsessed with that woman, for crying out loud. Don't you realize what it's doing to you and your
That
mother,
is not
huh?
your problem now, Julia, okay? It's my problem.
But how can you talk to me like that after everything that happened between us?
Nothing happened between the two of us, Julia, and you know it.
So what are you saying? That it wasn't serious? You mean you made fun of me?
I've never made fun of you. I was always honest with you. It's you who didn't want to fully understand. I didn't come here to discuss that. I only came here to see Amparo. Excuse
Over
me.
my dead body, Ruben. I won't let you.
Julia, I'm begging you.
Ruben, all I ask you is to wait for your mother first. I'm sure she will tell you everything that you need to know before things get more tangled up and complicated.
What are you waiting for? Clean that up already. It's your job to do so.
But you're mistaken. Neither this nor dealing with the other animals in the ranch is my obligation.
Just clean up the filthy horse dung right now, or I will fire
If
you.
it bothers you so much, why don't you clean it yourself? I only came here to make deals with Mr. Oligario and with Fabiola. If you have a problem with that, just go and talk to them.
Serio? What's going on here?
Irazabal
Maria's in love with another man. Is that the reason why your wedding is off? Why she won't marry you anymore?
Yes, and she said it to my face. Professor, at first I couldn't believe what she had told me, but she said it very explicitly. And well, okay, I think she's right.
Did she tell you who he was?
No. She didn't dare tell me who the man is. What should I do now, Professor? I don't have a fiancé, I don't have an engagement, I only have nothing. How can I tell my family that it's all over when they're so excited about the wedding?
Please calm down. These things really happen to people.
Yes, I'm sure that everything happened right under my nose, okay? I didn't even notice it. So how was she seeing him when she's always with me? How were they meeting each other? Just how? She was betraying me for so long. I didn't even have a
don't you
clue.
ever say that she betrayed you for long, because She's an honest woman, and I'm sure she wouldn't do anything like that.
Then it was a filthy man who came in between the two of us. That idiot made fun of me and my kindness. I wonder who he is. Who?
You should know that Mr. Olegario doesn't like violence in his ranch.
Tell that to the veterinarian. I'm just trying to explain his duties to him, but he doesn't seem to understand everything here.
And you don't understand that your duty here is to ignore me.
You are only one more employee in this ranch, and all of you have to follow my orders.
You don't ever exist to me, okay? And that's about it. It's that simple. There you are standing like you're so high, but to me you're like a pile of manure.
Stop! Cáceres.
Don't worry, I won't fight anyone in this place.
Whether you like it or not, you will have to report to me or I will fire you. Everyone who works here does the same.
I told you, my job is to tend to the horses, and that's all I will do. So if you have a problem with that, talk to Mr. Olegario. I only report to him or Fabiola, but not to you.
Enough. What I want to know right now is if you're still willing to marry Amparo.
Yes, I am, Mr. Olegario. That's what I've always wanted to do. Until that ranch hand crossed my path.
Ruben is just a nobody. All that matters is if you really love my daughter.
Yes. Of course I love her. But after what she did to me and the way she offended my mother, well...
Women get confused very often, Reynaldo. But she's already admitted she made a big mistake. You were a man of vision with bright ideas. Just think about your future. I guarantee you'll have a very bright one. Only if you marry Amparo.
Yes! I need to know who that man is! I want to split his face open and scoop the brain that thought of betraying
Hey, what do you think you're doing? What are you trying to do? To confront him like this? Well, that doesn't make any sense. Calm down and think.